Yep.
Welcome to Mental Alloy, Episode 2. I'm Isaac.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Jack. Alright, well, welcome back. We have some good stories to tell you today.
Yes, sir, we do.
Some fantastic stories today.
There's been some fun articles in the Collegian. Got a couple of them laid out. We had a speaker come to campus. Isaac's going to tell us more about that because he was there. Yeah. What do you want to start with?
You can start it.
All right, so
Yeah,
I just
go right
have
ahead.
a few little articles we were reading today. These are from today's newspaper and a newspaper back in January on the 23rd. So the one starting with the 23rd called When Language Changes, So Should We. It's about gender pronouns. And I mean, some of it's not stupid, but then there's some stupid stuff. Mostly, in the second paragraph, it starts by saying, in recent decades, an increasing number of people have come out as identifying with a non-binary gender identity. Millennials, in particular, are leading the way in this trend. It's funny because Jack was talking about how it's just a fad, and they do call it a trend, even though she's pro-pronouns.
Yeah, there's a stat that I saw somewhere where 1 in 4 Californian teens identify themselves as non-binary, apparently.
Yeah, and so right here it says that according to a 2017 survey conducted by GLAAD, 12% of the generation identify as non-gender conforming. And so according to these estimates, there could be 2,815 students in our university with non-conforming identities.
Apparently.
I'm
not one.
I have yet to meet one,
I've yet to meet
actually.
one as well.
I met
So it's-
one.
You did?
It's kind of weird. It was like they
So yeah.
they had a short hair, nose piercing, and they're like, "Oh, yep, I'm a they." All right, whatever, sure, I guess. It's a fad.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Like, every single time we meet new people, they have us go through our pronouns. So, like, he, she, and all that. Like, what is it now?
Z, his,
Stuff like
Hiss.
that. And not, and I've done
hers
it.
with an I.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Her and hers with an I.
It's funny, like I've done it at least 20 times now with 15 different people for each group and stuff. And I have not met one person that has used a different pronoun than their given pronouns
Yeah.
for gender. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in my case, it was during the time that we went to go onto campus. I went there on July, and my exchange student came to visit, and he wanted to go around with me and go around the campus. It was only for students, but he was acting he was a student, and so we had to pick partners, or not pick partners, but they picked partners for us, and he got the non-binary one, or the non-gender conforming one.
Yeah.
And he came up to me afterward. He was so confused. He was like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. They don't have that in Mexico." He's like, "No." I'm like, "Yep."
They don't have that in Mexico.
He's like, "No, I have no idea what's going on." I'm like, "I am so sorry that you have to find out this way, that literally all of our population here in the United States is dumb."
Yes. If that isn't a testament to the fact that it's not real, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then he goes on, and this was another thing that was really strange. It says, if you believe that everyone has a unique personality, good so far, and an individualized manner of perception. Now, that doesn't make any sense. If you believe that everyone has an individualized manner of perception, that's moral relativism. That's not even just moral relativism, that's relativism on the largest scale of everything in life is relativism, and it doesn't matter. Everyone's just individualized in how they perceive the world.
Yeah, I'm taking a philosophy class right now, and we're learning about moral relativism and cultural relativism, And there's dangers to all that. Like, if you say that this person is right, or most people say, oh, who's to say that this person is wrong? There's real danger to that, because maybe someone thinks someone's morals are, oh, it's okay to kill, oh, it's okay to poison my brother when he's sleeping because he stole my Cheerio. I mean, you can't just say, oh yeah, he's right because it's him. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to have set standard morals in a society, or else your society will eventually kill each other with moral relativism.
Last thing that it mentioned in the article was, quote, once we accept the notion of infinite identities, rather than stressing absolute conformity and classification, perhaps we can focus on integration and coexistence. Second article we got for the week, this was just today's article, or newspaper. This is an article we pulled from it. Me and Jack were reading this earlier before dinner, something I had never heard of. Have you ever heard of racial battle fatigue?
No, that's never a term that I've heard of.
Didn't think so.
Not acquainted.
The majority of the beginning of the article goes on about Tony Frank and him signing some cabinet movement with Missouri students on recommendations of implementing further, I guess, protections against marginalized groups on campus, which, I mean, isn't necessarily a bad thing. But then it goes into this concept of racial battle fatigue, and so it quotes this, and defines it in the article. So, racial battle fatigue describes the psychophysiological symptoms from high blood pressure to anxiety, frustration, shock, anger, and depression people of color may experience living in and navigating historically white spaces. There's more to it, but let's just pause on that and deconstruct that a little bit.
Yeah.
High blood pressure, anxiety, frustration, shock, anger, and depression people of color may experience simply navigating, existing in historically white spaces. So because a place has a history of not being people of your color living there because of demographics, you have a hard time dealing with existing in that space. That's like, if that was a thing that existed, tourism wouldn't be fun. You'd go to another country, and every time you were in a space that was occupied for generations by people who weren't your color, like you go to Italy or Germany or Africa, and everything you see there just makes your blood boil. That's not how it works.
It's not how it's supposed to work, at least.
Yeah, it's dumb that you would be so upset over history that an area demographically populated by people with light skin color makes your blood boil, gives you anxiety, and makes you suffer from depression.
People talk about Islamophobia and all this type of stuff. These symptoms kind of describe like what white phobia. I'm not saying, that that's a real thing, because it's not. But just like putting myself in the mind of, them for a second, like that's how they think. It's insane, and they don't think they're in the wrong for that. And it just reminds me of this thing that my professor said in my state politics class. He said, if your government doesn't look like you, you might not trust them, and that really, really matters. So apparently, to him, if your government does not look like you, then you might not trust them. Did I not trust the government when Obama was in office?
Yes.
Well,
for different reasons.
For different reasons, you could say, but still, like, I don't trust the government, in a general sense.
I think a better
Most
yeah.
people would say that, but just like the point that he was trying to get across was, we need to have people who mirror us in our government just because they have the same skin color as you, and I think that's a real problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this points to the deepest hypocrisy on the left, which is we don't like racism, yet we're going to make everything a race issue. There's no reason for politics or life or anything to deal with race at all. But they put such a high pressure on everything dealing with race that there's no meritocracy to any of it. It all bases itself on whether or not you're a person of color or not. So in the case of politics, you can't be trusted by minorities by your policy. You're only trusted by minorities if you look like minorities, which just, if we acted on that, we would have incompetent people in office or in leadership in every company because of the color of their skin. If that isn't racism, or inverse racism, I guess, it's not racism, it's just race-based economics, which is dumb. If you were to hire your manager because your employees were mostly black, even though he didn't have the correct skills, and even if you had mostly white employees and you hired a white manager because they lacked the skills because he was white, there's no logic in it. But they make race such a huge issue that nothing is safe from being a race issue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything is racist nowadays. No,
You couldn't wear a Moana costume if you were white.
Yeah, that's right. Halloween costumes are racist.
Yeah.
My RA had stuff in the dorm. You were in my dorm.
Yes.
And my RA had a whole poster organizing what was racist, what wasn't, because if you're white, you can't dress like this, you can't dress like this, you can't dress like this, because it's cultural appropriation.
And that was propagated all over the school.
Yeah, it was
There were
everywhere.
posters, it was like, oh, I'm not a costume, and it was like
I'm a culture,
an
not a
Indian.
costume, yeah.
Oh, I'm not a costume, and it was like some old Chinese garbs and stuff like that. And it's just, it truly is telling you how to think and how to do things with your life. And when I came to college, I was under the impression that I was able to have an open mind, and things are, changing, Things, you risk being offended on a college campus, not, being in a safe space like we are nowadays.
At an institute of higher learning, you expected to think?
Yeah, right?
I mean, I didn't expect to be pushed at all.
Yeah. It's strange. I expected a safe space, ready and waiting.
Yep.
Oh, same.
I was waiting for my little cry corner and my little blanket.
Yeah.
My safe space, I wanted a free ride to my classes every day.
Ooh.
Where I could, sip my tea and eat my...
Crumpets?
No, not my crumpets. My avocado toast.
Oh, avocado
yeah.
toast. Okay, my bad.
Because walking and not having avocado toast is a microaggression.
It's too much angering to me.
Before we move on to Isaac's article, there's this one tiny little snippet in the bottom of this article. I don't know who wrote it. It's called Nope and Dope. So it's like cool things, not cool things. I'll start with the not cool things. Coffee from your friends. Getting a call back for a cool interview opportunity. Making Valentine's Day plans. Planning trips for spring break.
Those sound pretty good.
And you got on the nope side, right? Bad things. I said that backwards. Good and then bad.
Yeah.
Procrastinating. Not having a Valentine's Day plans.
That's no bueno.
Almost forgetting another scholarship application.
Ooh.
And one that blends right in with all the others. The patriarchy.
Oh.
It just fits right in there. It's like camouflage,
Yeah. I just don't understand what that's doing in this little... You can't leave anything unpoliticized.
No.
It's just nothing is fun without politics anymore, I guess.
Yep. So this article, we can go on for like days just criticizing this. The title of this article is "Young Conservatives Need to Do More Than Just Condemn White Nationalists." So what this article is pretty much saying. So our keynote speaker was Kirk.
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk. My bad. Yeah, sorry. Charlie Kirk. The beginning opening sentence. He said it blatantly and clear. Sorry on my pronunciation. However, he said, "We condemn the actions of the white nationalists outside. We do not affiliate anywhere with this group." And
as no one should.
yeah, we condemn them, but that's not enough. We have to go even farther with it. So they showed up. So the story is last Friday, February 2nd, 2018. There was a anti-socialism talk on campus, and Antifa showed up. And just remember, Antifa is classified under the FBI as a domestic terrorist group. And in this article, nothing was said at all, but it was actually, some points were actually praising Antifa for stepping in and helping kick out the white nationalist group out with the police. There was nothing about like any incidences that Antifa actually brought up and stuff. And yeah, so it's just saying we need to do more than condemn Nazis. So it's pretty funny because the Collegian starts off with, the Collegian condemns the use of violence, daring, and any other event. The Collegian condemns Nazis, white nationalists, or anyone else who spreads hateful and dangerous ideology. They didn't say once Antifa in there. Again, terrorist group. Just saying.
And also another thing that I find funny there is the first thing they say, oh, conservatives need to do more than just call out. And what's the first thing that they do? All they do is call out.
Yeah.
They're not doing more like they said that conservatives should.
Yeah. They just condemned the Nazis. They did nothing more. It's the conservatives' fault, so they need to do it, and it's just really annoying. And then, yeah, so they went on to say that, oh, these Nazis, according to Derek Black, who was a godson of a well-known white supremacist called David Duke, he said, like, these are usual condemnation, they're used to being condemned like this. We need to do more, and stuff like that. Yeah.
What more do you do?
By the way,
than push them off campus with
David Duke was a Democrat when he was in office as a member of the Louisiana House of Representatives. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I don't know what more you can do. Like, condemn them and kick them off campus, but it's not enough.
I know. And then they go on to say, like, Kirk, yes, like I said before, he did start off with the opening sentence of, yes, we denounced this radical group outside. However, what makes me laugh was because they say this is pretty much a false statement because of some words that he said in it, saying this does not. So they say this does not actually change the conversation that Charlie Kirk denounced this group, because in the same speech he purports that white privilege is a myth and that sweatshops are a necessary step developing countries need to go through. And if young people do not like the U.S. or capitalism, they should leave. So
those are all solid points.
They are parts. So just history fact, we didn't call them sweatshops, but Americans started off with factories.
Yeah.
In today's terms,
Child labor.
they would have been called sweatshops. They were making less than $1 a day.
Yeah.
Was it bad? Yes. Did it kick off our ever-growing economy? Also yes.
Yes. And they're saying, no, let's just jump them into a first world country. But we see like the fallacies in this with like countries like Iran and stuff like that. They jumped off with a quick start with the oil and stuff like that. But now that a lot of the oil is like dwindling and stuff, their economies are starting to go back, and we see it's just a quick boom, but there's nothing that sets the economy steady on steady ground. And then they also say like we should leave if we don't like the capitalism. There are plenty of nations in Europe that are doing fairly well in socialistic societies, and like, yeah, if he's just saying if you're not happy here, why change it? Why not just move and allow the people that enjoy what is going on now keep on enjoying it, but why change it? And then it's also funny. So they're pretty much saying that Antifa nor any of the liberal movements that were there that night had nothing to do with any of the riots and stuff, but in fact that they were forced to come and protest and riot because of the speaker. Oh, jeez.
I don't think anybody's forced to go places in America.
Yeah, but I mean, even that, it's just, they think themselves, just like we were talking about last time, the bastions of freedom and hope. They imagine themselves as the resistance to America declining on this slippery slope of the evil capitalism and all these things that have given them the right to do what they do. And so, of course, they feel pressured into, oh, we have to be there. There's going to be someone we disagree with. We can't let that happen without protest.
And the person that they said that they disagreed with, that they had to riot and protest was, I always get this name mixed wrong, but it's Milo Yiannopoulos. And he recently went to the CU Boulder campus and talked there.
Wait, they were protesting Milo, not Charlie Kirk?
No, they just talked about...
No, they threw him in there.
Yeah, they just threw him in there.
Because he spoke at CU for a turning point event.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just said he is known for his... which is pretty funny. He was known for making inflammatory, racist, sexist, and homophobic comments.
Yes, the gay man and the homophobe.
Yes.
I mean, it could probably exist by the left's standards.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are white men who hate white people.
Yeah, very true, very true.
So they think he follows the same line in hating his own.
There's another comment saying, if free market capitalism was really the only thing Kirk was advocating for Friday night, we would happily praise CSU's conservative students for leading the way in changing the rhetoric of the Republican Party.
Another one.
Well, yeah.
They hate us way too much.
Yeah, so why not, This is just baffling itself, whereas, we have to change the Republican Party to fit their views. It has to be... We have to all think the same. We can't think differently. It has to be one straight line, and so they want us to conform into more of what liberals would like to think.
Yeah, and read that again, will you?
So if free market capitalism was really the only thing Kirk was advocating for Friday night, we would happily praise CSU's conservative students for leading the way in changing the rhetoric of the Republican Party.
Yeah, so the other thing this says is that the rhetoric of the Republican Party is dastardly as its base, right? And so if, for the first time ever, capitalism was the only thing we talked about as conservatives, because God forbid we have public policy as well, then they would happily cheer us on for changing the rhetoric of the party. Mm-hmm. That's like us saying, we would like Democrats if all they talked about was their big government policy. No, we wouldn't.
No.
It's not true. We'd still disagree with them and we'd still fight back. You don't just, oh, well, they believe in a different economic policy, therefore it's all good. As long as they don't touch social life, then everyone's safe. As long as they don't get their noses in our personal business and our, I don't know.
And then they also say, so to continue on to that really quick paragraph, which too frequently and too quickly devolves into labeling undocumented immigrants as rapists and Muslims as terrorists. Sadly, it wasn't. Now, so what this is saying that all Republicans, all conservatives label illegal immigrants as rapists and all Muslims as terrorists. Now, that is frankly not true. We label all illegal immigrants as illegals, and they should not be here because they are here illegally.
It's in the name.
Illegal immigrants, undocumented.
Why do you call them undocumented? That just means that they forgot their passport.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
I crossed the border, but I don't seem to have my passport.
Dang it. Yeah, so we document them as illegals, not rapists.
We document rapists as rapists.
Thank you. Yes. And then anyways. Carrying on, this is my favorite point in this entire article. It's the most stupid thing I have ever read in my life. It says, if white people, or white students, or any of that, want to stop being labeled as racist because they liked some of what Milton Friedman said, what the heck? Milton Friedman is a world-renowned economist who is like the bomb diggity. Okay, I'm gonna say that.
A Nobel Prize winner in economics.
It's just amazing that we are automatically classified as racists because we liked some things that somebody has said. It is frustrating, really. And then continuing on from that same quote of if we don't want to be labeled racist, what can we do? Because we really want to know what can we do so we don't be labeled racist because we liked what something Milton Friedman said. We get to condemn all racist comments by all conservative leaders. And again, they say, don't condemn. You can't condemn. That's not enough. And here they are saying, condemn the comments. What else is that going to do? And then they say they must fight back against decisive rhetoric,
divisive rhetoric.
Thank you. Divisive rhetoric, called out racist comments when they hear them, and stop inviting speakers to campus who are simply there to stir up controversy. So we need to stop bringing speakers to campus that have our ideological views. We can't bring speakers to campus that are conservative. We must bring speakers to campus that are liberals and only have that mindset.
Yeah, so effectively, we have to condemn comments that we may agree with by the left's definition of racism. We have to stop saying things other people disagree with, and we have to make sure we never hear people who agree with us speak. And then we'll stop being racist.
Yep.
I'd say we're going to be racist for a heck of a long time.
And a heck of a lot more time to come. And just to make this clear, so they say, condemn the neo-Nazis. We do. We don't want anything to do with them. Nazis are terrible. But they don't say condemn socialism. Socialism alone has killed and destroyed more lives than Nazism has ever done. So
even look at today in Venezuela, where riots and people waiting in line to get toilet paper. That's the kind of stuff that you see in dystopian movies, where let's say Jennifer Lawrence is standing in line waiting to get her name called to play in the Hunger Games. It's
Except one's toilet paper and one's going and killing children.
yeah, exactly. But it's still life and death, and it's
Yeah.
still not an ideal life. If you're watching this today, look at yourself. You are most likely in America, but if you're watching this somewhere else, you probably have a much better life than those who live live in a socialist country do right now. And I would say that, I don't think about that, as much as I should, and that's why capitalism and democracy and the republic is the best system of government that America has ever seen.
Yeah.
That entire mixed economy, that entire mixed government, it's perfect.
Yeah, and it's not just based on the economic ramifications of capitalism versus socialism versus fascism, right? There's a lot more to each of these that contributes to their quality. And you have socialism, which takes hardworking people's hard work and converts it to everyone's due justice. You have fascism, which takes the individual and makes them a mechanism of society. And then you have capitalism, which is the only economic, social policy partnered with conservatism that respects human value in free will and in freedom and in the ability to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's the only one that does that. And there is so much hate directed to it. And I don't know, something worth thinking about, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So, just closing remarks, just to all those socialists out there, just stop using Star Trek as an example of a perfect socialism utopia, because that is a movie. It is completely fake, so please stop. This is Mentall Alloy. I'm Isaac.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Jack. We'll see you next time.
Forget.